You're listening to the International Moving Podcast, your guide to moving to another country, brought to you by SDC International Shipping, LA's finest. An international move is exciting. It's a time to start over, establish a new business maybe, reestablish family ties, or retire where your budget will do more for you. Please enjoy today's episode, and if you have any questions about your international move, give us a call at 888-779-3962. That's 888-779-3962. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Jim for SDC International Shipping. Great to be back together with you again today, talking about the topic of international moving and international relocation. Before we get into it, I want to share with you thoughts on moving and relocating to France. It has always been a very popular destination for expats, for people throughout the world looking to relocate, looking for a different kind of lifestyle. We can go all the way back to the old days and see that France had a certain type of allure to it, drawing people from all over the world, some of them very famous artists, painters, musicians. France is just renowned for so many things. Now, if we look at the France of 2024, of course, it's easy to look at it with somewhat of a skeptical eye, but of course you could say that probably about anywhere in the world right now, because the world is in such a state of upheaval, and arguably has been since the year 2000. The last 5 years have just been, at least in my experience, quite different from anything that I've ever experienced in any given 5-year block of time in my own life as I look back over the past. So many things have changed. I'm talking about on a worldwide scale, where the problems that we have in this place are basically the same problems people are having everywhere. And so the world has become more dealing with the same issues regardless of where you're at. Life is life. It comes with its challenges, whether you're living in the United States, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia. It just doesn't matter. Life has its set of challenges. But that said, depending on where you're at in your own life experience, there may be locations that are a better fit for you than the one that you're currently in. And so you have to ask yourself, what's keeping you from relocating if that's something that you've been thinking about? It may be legitimate. There may be legitimate reasons why you're not taking the plunge, making a move, relocating, starting a new chapter in your life. Or there may be illegitimate reasons why, the things that you're just imagining that just aren't true. And I have to say this, the very first time I looked at this topic of moving internationally, it hit me like a wave, or a big wave on the beach if you didn't see it coming. I remember I was a little kid, very first time I was in the ocean, growing up on the Jersey Shore. I was learning how to swim, and I turned my back. I was talking to somebody who was on the beach, probably about 20 yards away. I was yelling to them, and I didn't see this, what was to me a large wave. It hit me, and it knocked me literally head over heels under the water for a few moments, which felt like longer than that. I didn't know which way was up, which way was down, which way was sideways. Kind of panicked a little bit with that one. Thankfully, I wasn't in deep water at the time and there were people around. But that's what I was thinking about. Just the feeling of being overwhelmed. That was the feeling that I got the first time I looked at that. Now, fast forward to today. I'm making this recording in 2024. I've been on this podcast now for over a year, and I have to say that the more I look into international moving and relocation, the less intimidating it is. Because no matter where you're going, there are certain constant things that you see over and over again. So, for example, you're going to have your visas that give you the ability to stay in that country for a specific amount of time. You're going to have your moving plans, you're going to have your work and all of that. There are a lot of little things, but the process is better documented than ever before. The systems that are in place, companies like we have here at SDC International Shipping, have people that do this every single day. They'll handle things that you will not have to deal with. They have all that worked out. So they take care of the move. You take care of the other things, maybe getting things set up with the real estate at your new location or your new home, getting electricity turned on, or making sure that you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, those type of things. But now, before I go on, I just want to share with you something I just read about 30 minutes ago. One of the things I was wondering is what's changed in France over the past 5 years? Has anything made a difference in how we would approach a relocation from, let's say, the United States to France? And this is what I found. Starting in the second half of 2025, they will be introducing a new, it's called ETIAS, E-T-I-A-S, ETIAS. It is a international travel authorization system. Now, starting in the second half of 2025, it says Americans will need to register their travel plans to France and the Schengen area through this new online portal, which is this travel authorization system, even for short visits under 90 days. This, it says, is a new requirement compared to the past when the Schengen visa was issued automatically. Next, it says the process for obtaining longer-term visas to live and work in France has become more complex. Americans now have to navigate a variety of visa options like student visas, work visas, family reunification visas, etc., and meet specific requirements for each. This application process also involves more bureaucracy and paperwork. Okay. Next, the path to apply for long-term French residency after 5 years of living in France on one of the approved visas. There's a path for this now, in other words, is what they're saying. There's an established path. This 10-year residency card provides more stability and flexibility compared to repeatedly renewing short-term visas. So there is a 10-year residency card that's available after 5 years of living in France on one of the visas that enabled you to stay there to start with. So next, number 4, the logistics of moving household items and pets to France has become more challenging. Now, this is the great thing about working with professional international movers, is because we can help you navigate all of that. We keep on top of that. We're aware of that. I'm just saying that this is one of the things that I was reading about. It says, moving household items and pets to France has become more challenging, with expats recommended to use professional international moving companies that are experienced with the process. So everyone at SDC International Shipping, like I said, this is something that's done day in and day out, week in and week out. And so they had the fundamentals down. They're aware of the changes. So if you partner with SDC International Shipping, for example, then there's a whole bunch of particulars there that are going to be taken care of for you, that they'll let you know what's needed and what's not needed. And so that's part of the package that companies like SDC International Shipping offer. Okay, so getting back to France itself, the country's renowned for so many things: cuisine, history, landscapes, and all of those things continue to be attractive. They continue to hold an appeal for people looking for a new life, a new adventure, a new opportunity. Some people are drawn to the streets of Paris. Some look at an area like Provence. It's actually written like a province, pronounced Provence. And others still look at areas like the French Riviera. And so we can look at some of the intricacies involved in relocating to France, give you a few tips, and also realize that if you're going to do this alone, you're going to have a completely different experience than if you hire a professional international mover. That's where SDC, of course, comes in. SDC will be your partner in this international relocation and offer tailored solutions specifically for whatever your individual needs happen to be. Can you do the whole thing on your own? Yeah, you can do anything you want, really. I mean, just think about moving in the country. I mean, you can rent a truck, you can do your own packing, you can do your own lifting, in one area, out of another area, into another. However you want to look at it, it's a lot of work. I would admit that it's probably more doable if you're younger as far as the physical part goes, But the older that you get, the more you realize you really don't want to do this. You don't want to risk hurting or injuring yourself lifting something that you shouldn't be lifting. You don't want the stress of trying to figure out for the first time how to pack items correctly so that they arrive at their location the same way they left. And I've been through it a few times myself. I know what it's like to do it myself, and I would never do it again. Of course, I'm older now too, so there is that. But when you deal with a country like when you deal with a company like SDC International Shipping, then of course all of that is handled by someone else, and that's what you're paying for. So looking at the current trends in relocating to France, in recent years, there has been a noticeable uptick in the number of individuals and families, not just leaving the U.S. in favor of the different areas, the different locations in France, but people from around the world in general have made France their new home. And this trend, we'll call it a trend. It's not a huge trend, but it's noticeable enough. We can attribute it to factors such as, lifestyle appeal. One of the primary reasons people relocate to France is because of the lifestyle it offers. On one hand, you have a place like a quaint village in the countryside. On the other side of the scale, you have the cosmopolitan type energy you find in a place like Paris. And then you have everything in between. So France really does offer a diverse range of experiences, regardless of whatever your preference happens to be. Most expats are drawn to a more relaxed pace of life. They put the emphasis on things like quality cuisine, fresh foods and vegetables, wine, and they couple that with many cultural offerings that you would see in a country like France. Then you can look at other things like healthcare and education. France has a very well-documented, robust healthcare system. It's regarded as one of the best in the world. And so if you're an expat relocating to France, you have access to very high-quality medical care and services, often at a fraction of the cost of what the comparable cost would be in other countries. Additionally, France has a highly esteemed education system. They have prestigious universities, if you're younger, and schools that attract students from around the world. Next, there are employment opportunities there. The French economy is very diversified, and there's opportunities for career advancement, for professional growth. Major industries such as technology, fashion, hospitality, finance thrive in the French business landscape. I think financial institutions thrive just about anywhere, but that offers expats a variety of job prospects, and if you have the entrepreneurial streak that runs through you, then there's plenty of opportunity for you to engage in that there also, whether we're talking about online ventures, offline, a combination of the two, startups. All of those things are happening in France. Next, certainly not least, is the cultural part of it. France has a rich cultural heritage and what some people have referred to as an artistic legacy. And that continues to draw people and attract people who are looking for maybe a deeper connection to history and tradition. I'm one of those people that I'm just using myself as an example. I remember the first time that I saw, I think it was Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where the Revolutionary War was fought, where the armies were, and different things from the Revolution 1776 in the Northeast, where I lived and grew up. Some of the wars were fought there. And they had the places where the redcoats were stationed, and I mean, just going back and looking at that history, it was fascinating to me as a kid, and it's something that I guess where you've come from, in one case it doesn't matter, but in the other case there's so many history lessons and wisdom that you can get from the past. I think that's why people appreciate it. And arguably some things were better in the past than they are in the present. And so sometimes you can recapture a little bit of the past in the here and now, and it makes a big difference in the quality of life that you enjoy on a daily basis. And so France has world-renowned museums. There's no shortage of historical landmarks. They have festivals throughout the year and events. So if you're an expat and you're in France, then there's going to be a whole lot for you to enjoy there if you like things like food, art, culture, music, literature. All of that is deeply ingrained in this country's culture. And of course, France has a strategic location within Europe that offers people easy access to neighboring countries, and that would include global markets also. They have a well-developed transportation infrastructure. They have a sophisticated network of airports and railways that navigate Europe from France, making it convenient and efficient. So as the allure of France continues to grow, more individuals are seizing the opportunity to embark on a new chapter in their lives. Now, we can talk about the French visa process. It's one of the things that I just mentioned at the beginning. One of the things that we're changing was that in mid-2025, that's going to change. But visa options are somewhat similar from country to country. You need a valid passport. You need a completed visa application form. You need proof of accommodations within the country. You need proof of financial means to support yourself during your stay. You need a travel itinerary and flight reservations. You need a letter of acceptance from a French educational institution or employment contract if you have that, for student or work visas, for example. If you're married, of course, you want your marriage certificate, proof of relationship, if you're going there for a family reunion visa. If you have business plans, of course, you need the proof of funds for an entrepreneurial visa. So you have to have all the documentation, and there's plenty of places that you can look up online to know what's needed right now. So maybe you're just thinking about this, and maybe you heard me mention about the changes coming in mid-2025. Maybe you're going to move before then, so those changes aren't going to affect you directly. Or maybe you're going to move during that time or afterward, so this information is just a basic overview, and you'll have to see what's going to apply to you at the time, which is, of course, the way it's always done. And the nice thing about it is, let's say you contact SDC International Shipping and you let the person know that you have a 2-bedroom house and you start asking questions. We have experts that navigate the laws and the specifics of every country, and they'll be able to tell you at any given time what you can bring and what you can't bring, what type of documentation you may need, what things you need to have in order. So you're not kind of just hanging out there on your own. You don't have to worry about, did you research this well enough? And of course, if you have an employer waiting for you on the other side, then you have assistance on both sides of the scale. You have assistance for the moving part, and you have people there waiting for you, knowing that you're coming, and you have that assistance as well. So you have to submit a visa application, of course, regardless of what type of visa you're applying for. And that means you have to do these things well ahead of time. You don't wait for the last minute when you're making an international move. And that's because of many things, not just the move, but for the visas and getting all of your paperwork in order, shutting everything down over here, letting people know where you're going to, and taking care of all of that. It sounds in some cases a lot more difficult than it is. It's not like you've never done anything similar to this in the past. It's just a matter of paperwork sometimes and making sure that you have everything in the order it needs to be in. So if you're navigating the visa process, of course, on your own, that can be a little bit overwhelming, because if you're unfamiliar with things like immigration law and procedures, and that's where SDC International Shipping again can come in, because SDC has extensive experience in international relocation, and so you have somebody providing you guidance and support, in addition, helping you navigate the visa process. And so that'll go a long way towards giving you confidence. If it's one thing when you go into a situation and you have confidence, and it's not that if you have confidence that no challenges can happen, it's just that you're aware of it up front before you go in. And there's something about having that awareness about what comes next and what comes next and what comes next than not having that. I think the unknown creates more stress than anything else. And that's why having the right partnerships, having the right people working with you during an international move is critical to the overall experience. Because they're there, those individuals, even if we're just talking about an international tax accountant, someone who can help you navigate maybe finances in the United States versus finances in France, somebody who knows how to do that already, who's already done the legwork, already has the experience. Working with someone like that versus working with someone who's never done it before and has to call somebody who's going to call somebody and they'll get back to you when they know, it's a completely different situation. So take advantage and leverage the expertise of companies and individuals like SDC International Shipping, and they'll help navigate the visa process, and you'll have that confidence and peace of mind that you probably otherwise wouldn't have had. Now, the current trends and changes in 2024, quick update, technology. Number one, technology has changed noticeably over the last 12 months, according to several articles that I've read online. In recent years, they say, technological innovations have revolutionized the way individuals are approaching international relocation. From virtual property tours and digital documentation to online language courses and remote opportunities, these things are becoming the norm in the relocation process. And it's reached the point where it's reached the tipping point now where this is becoming the normal approach to it. Technology has made the process of moving to France more accessible and more streamlined in 2024 than it has been even in the past. Expats can research, plan, and execute a move with greater ease and efficiency, leveraging things like digital tools and other types of technology that make the whole process much easier. Next, there is the remote work revolution, because the global shift towards remote work has had an incredible impact on the landscape of international relocation. More companies are embracing that flexible work arrangement where individuals can increasingly make the choice whether they're going to work from home or show up in an office. And if you're employed here in the United States, now you have the ability, everything is in place where you can continue working for an American company or any other company while relocating to France. And just because everything is tied in and integrated on a level that is more secure, more accepted by more companies today, here and now, as of this recording, than at any other time in the past. And so this trend has opened up new possibilities because you can enjoy the benefits of living in a completely different location while maintaining your professional connections and networks, which may be in another country. Next, it's been said that France enjoys more enhanced support services in 2024 than they ever have at any other time in the past, because they recognize the unique needs that expats face when relocating to their country. And as a result, there has been a proliferation of support services and resources tailored to help people facilitate a smooth transition into their country. From relocation assistance firms to expat networks to government initiatives and community outreach programs, expats today in 2024 have access to a wealth of support systems designed to address things like practical needs, emotional needs, and social needs during the relocation process. So as we look at the ever-changing landscape of international relocation to countries like France, these trends and changes underscore the dynamic nature of expat life in general and the ongoing changes of the expat experience as we go through the 2020s. So, where do you find your ideal home in France? Well, I think that starts online, definitely. If you've ever vacationed there before or spent any time there, you know popular destinations would be places such as Paris, Provence, the French Riviera, the French Alps, People need to consider things such as climates, amenities, maybe proximity to major cities depending on what you do, the local cultures, and then you can determine what region would best align with your preferences and your priorities. Of course, you have to consider things like renting versus buying, no different in 2024 than in the past. So when it comes to finding your ideal home, you'll need to decide whether renting, which makes sense, at least in the beginning, or buying is the right option for you if you've been there many times and already have your heart set on a certain location. It's nice that renting offers an amount of flexibility and more of an ease of transition because you can test out different areas, neighborhoods, and lifestyles before committing to any kind of long-term investment. And of course, I would be remiss if we didn't finish by talking about SDC International Shipping, that we're here to help you make this transition. Relocating to France is definitely an exciting endeavor, and we're aware of the challenges that individuals face when making the move. So at SDC International Shipping, you're going to be working with a partner that specializes in international moves, making them seamless and as stress-free as possible. Everything can be taken care of for you, like packing and shipping. We have an experienced team of professionals that can handle all of the packing and shipping from door to door. Next, we have custom clearance. So navigating the customs clearance process can be complex, but not with SDC International Shipping because we understand it. We know what can be brought into the country, what cannot, and we'll manage all of the necessary documentation that is required, including the connecting with customs officials to ensure that all the compliance is met with French import regulations. Next, we can look at storage solutions. If you need a temporary storage solutions on either side of the move, that's available here. Also, we have you covered with that. We have secure storage facilities to keep your items safe until you're ready for delivery. And throughout the entire process, you'll enjoy the top-notch customer support, which means throughout your whole relocation process, we have a dedicated customer support team. They will be there and available to assist you every step of the way. So whether you just have a question, a quick concern, or you need a little bit of guidance, we'll be here to help you make a smooth, hassle-free transition. So to sum it up, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode. Maybe France is just something that is definitely going to be in your future. Even if it's not in the immediate future, maybe the not too distant future. You just never know. Moving to France can be a new and exciting chapter in your life. And just know that we're here at SDC International Shipping to help make that transition possible. All right, so that will do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please, as always, go ahead and share the episode link with a friend. Share a link to a specific episode or the podcast show in general. This is the International Moving Podcast. My name is Jim. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for listening. Whether you're relocating within the country or moving to the other side of the world, we're here to help from start to finish. Connect with us today at 888-779-3962. That's 888-779-3962.